Thank you so much, Rebecca. You're just like drowning in gorgeous words tonight. And I was thinking last month we had an awesome themed reading, Let Us Speak of Humanness. And that theme is carried on in every poet tonight. Thank you so much, everyone. Our final reader for the evening is Celia White, who some of you may know to be a librarian, poet, fiction writer, and occasional journalist. She's the author of Letter, Book of Poems, and several chapbooks, Cusp, Drink, Lit, Sip, and Path. With Joe Todaro, she was the founder of Western New York's Urban Epiphany Poetry Marathon. Celia's work has appeared in national and local publications. Several times she was named Best Poet in the Art Voice Readers Poll, and her other awards include the Academy of American Poets University Prize, a Just Buffalo Literary Center residency, and Best Poet named by Buffalo Spree Magazine. Presently, she's working on a film project, The Ceiling Sings at Nietzsche's, about one aspect of the live music bar in Buffalo, New York. Please help me welcome Celia White.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? I don't do many readings anymore. I did it because Susan begged me. Thanks. But something about Poetry Month and thinking about poetry prompted me to put out my first chapbook in 10 years. I do have all these old ones, but it was nice to put together a little handful of poems again. I do have this larger book, but I really like this small form, so I'm going to read a lot from these newer pieces. One might begin, again, with intention, to reach another, to reach all. Soared through cloth, a swath of words in meaning, like wine in a skin. One might begin. To drink and find the place, the path, the people, the peace in which one can begin. To feel proud, to feel at home, to feel love and loved, to enter in. To begin again, to portend, to dream, to weave, to change and end, and begin again. Burst from the pose of prayer. Birth begins and never ends. Walk somewhere, walk nowhere, walk to where there's a fire in the crook of the season, and an elbow in the rib of that trouble. Go on, be gone. Prayer again, or wish, that kiss, on wind which wavers but never stops, the drop to knee, fold, touching the tree. This coming Sunday I'll be reading at the book launch of my teacher, Jimmy Gilliam. Jimmy passed in 2015, but the manuscript that she had been working on for most of her adult life has been made into a book called Torn from the Ear of Night, and it'll be launched at the Western New York Arts Book Center this Sunday, which should be a wonderful celebration, and I'll be reading this poem there as well. Imagine our Jimmy, her hands holding a pen or another hand, her breath reaching toward us, her body imagined and remembered as a lover's body, a mother's body, her child body hiding under the bushes by the little house. Imagine the poet, never alone enough and always alone, loving solitude and the surround of poets, remaking the world with words, learning that imagining is creating. Imagine the teacher, the long days of chalk on the hands, hope in the heart, talks which go deep to change lives, the way walking makes a road. Imagine we continue, not without her. Imagine she continues within us. Seattle, 1992. Nothing happened, in that way that everything happens. People look at each other. We met, sweat, an onslaught of spells. There was the usual spew of seduction, the reason in the rhythm. Memory, energy moved in me that night and its wet chronology. Everything, 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 everything came down to me. We were not strangers for very long, standing in our simple skins, both seeking perpendicular satisfaction in a horizontal universe. I wanted the way he walked. I wanted pop rock possibility. I wanted to set up shop in that river on the second floor of the Paradiso Cafe. Nothing happened, you know. People look at each other. This is my very first book from 1992. I don't know if I can read that one. Okay. I was pretty intense as a young poet. Okay, what can I say? Okay, I'll try. The Truth. That's the poem you write when you're 20. All of it. Now. A combination of fate and accident, and the sky turns green and cries harder than it is known for in this mellow meadow of concrete and ideals. The wind is just passing through, and maybe that's why I'm whispering all the time. I wanna rock and roll all night. While I figure out every fucked up fact and trip on truth, I weep under the strobe light thinking I should be having visions, rolling my body along the black walls till I am dirty as a wheel which takes us where we should already be. I want my heart to go boom, 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 and I want everything I write and say and do to be true, and I want to live and stay fascinated and kiss everything I can learn from. I want to be able to dance and for you to see it through the brittle ink, the rough page. The untranslated voice of now, reading it later, no matter how many times I write the words, think the thought, say the same, only now is now. And I don't understand how, if I were speaking aloud, the world would be different. Because everything falls through me anyway, some crashing, some clotting, some sludgy and staying, and some ripping through like a house fire, leaving beautiful and memorable scars of the irretrievable. How do you go in? I urge it on with words and waiting, and I coax it out with my faith and my desperation and the insecurity I buy with electricity and small coins at the newsstand, and how hard I can mark the page. How fucking open can I get, singing, surging, spewing, refusing to record or recoil? I match my mind, my mirth, everything I know on the earth with what you give and live by. And where we can meet, touch, and smile for a minute, I save it all. Stoned by so much love and awe that it never descends to the page. It doesn't, even now, it does not come. I wet my fingers in all my mouths and I would weep, but that's not why I write. I write so as not to weep any harder than I have to, and it's the only answer. And I do it faster, and I do it harder, and I do it until I can't anymore, and I do it because it has to be done, and I trust no one. And when I am done, there is no world anymore. I pace in the place that is just space where the face falls away. There's just me, and I'm sick of myself and so sad waiting for someone to love what I can't, but which is me. And I can't burn out with time or neglect or love or memory. Only contact with someone who knew, and there are so few it may only be you and me, dissatisfied and unique in all the universe. And no one knows how we touched, and only with you is that the most profound miracle of my continuing to walk in the world. I stand in it strong, and I will never explain it, express it, try it, test it, turn it over to the writhing underneath. It's just you and me, and I never have occasion to say we. So here we go, and only you know. We were too young for it to matter, and too new not to believe it, and too odd to avoid it, and too laid low to be laughed at, and too deep in to deny it, and too in love to uninvolve, and too invisible still for anyone to see, and finally too deep in to accept or look for anything else. And even now it chants our pulses into one, and we are unfit and furious and enchanted forever. We don't know what else to say. Question poem. Are you here today? Where did you go? Could you come see me and bring me some potatoes? Who drank all that wine? Did you see how the sun is shining? Did you know this means the apocalypse is coming? Who heard the tree fall? What do you know? Do you love me? Did you make amends? Did you get paid? Did you forget again? Will I marry? Will I die? Will summer be as hot as I remember? Can this be fixed? Can she reach that note? Is it incurable? What will happen next? What will Anne name her baby? What do you like on your pizza? Are they mad at me? Will I write another poem? Am I writing this one? Is it any good? How do I tell if it's a poem or if it's good? What color has my hair become? What am I not seeing? How do I get the 6th graders to shut up? How are girls different from boys? Do men long to be chosen the way that women do? What bullshit is that? How much of our pain is only in our minds? How many zucchini can I grow in a container garden? What song makes a difference in your life? Can I have more money? Did you turn the heat down? Did you miss me? The poem, an injection, pollen, fuel, intoxicant. The poem, a virus, sepsis, a rupture, the calm culmination of a certain thought. The poem, a feeling no one had ever felt out in words until now. The poem, the wettest leaf at the bottom of steep, honeyed but probably sad. The poem, utteration, iteration, creation, cremation, once in a while, revolution. The poem, it says the weather, lists the wishes, works the wheel to turn around the day beyond. The poem, a little prayer, a little song, the opposite of gunshot, antidote to inertia, a dog romp around a little yard, a small parade in the rainy brain. The poem, etched in stone for all time, remembers forever, ferments the steeped thought. The poem, scribe of the afternoon, script of angel and drunk, the scrap of music from a car going by. The poem, a canvas stroked by light, a long moment behind the eyelids, a step away from them. That's a little shout out to Frank O'Hara if you know his wonderful poem. April Adoration. The new day already adorned, intricate beadwork of spring, birds already out of breath from singing, green stitch of dirt under the fingernail, the buttons of buds undoing. A poet to a city block, a poem to a town. These poems are made of knowing nothing, or only knowing one thing. I want to see your face with all the petals open. I think I'll read a couple oldies. Thursday night at Sibley's Lounge. The guitar player sits with a dim lamp behind his head, but this is not why I squint, stare. Sometimes I put a bent finger to my lips and watch his fingers flutter over the strings, as if tenderness is his true livelihood, but he never leaves the tune. My gaze sidles like 2 fingers sliding between the blank buttons of his shirt. Something to say, some hopeful, simple bridge swirls like a secret on my tongue. Wordlessly, he plays my favorite song. This is the title poem of my book letter. Dear head, dear skull, dear cup in the mist, by now you are here. You have lost the loosened envelope, discarded it like shell or husk or shirt. Dear drinker, dear last star, dear April moon, I never use up the simplest parts of myself. Purity is an arrow and a vow. There is no poet without God or blood. Use this. Dear broken-hearted true believer, dear breath, dear Jerusalem, I had a week of pure paranoia, the sense of some sensation scarred, days of tiny propositions and much pleasure, a week of words, their littlest workings. Dear rose in winter, dear word turned name, dear sun, shipwrecked as a lover or an artifact, I want another town, an afternoon of sound and lying down. What is the difference between flirtation and prediction, between prophecy and confession? I just want to know the world is still going around. Dear man on the street at midnight, coatless, arms full of flowers, dear bone on a string, dear secret mouth, speaking. If you were here, I would be drunk and supreme. If you were here, I would be naked and afraid. If you were here, I would not sing out loud, but I would never stop sweating. If you were here, each eye would be X-ray. There would be no end of rosin and sawdust. Dear poet, dear ear, dear axis of voices, keep the holy things holy. Pursue the case for conditional optimism, and keep spying on my city. Enclosed is my absence and my ecstasy. Carry it like coals, like craving, back to me. I didn't realize I have April Moon all through these poems. Just the other week, I wrote a series of April Moon haiku, and here they are. Through the window and into my full wine glass, the April moon. I greet her on my knees, if that's the only way, the April moon. Ice and petals falling, the tiniest of green leaves, the April moon. Whole moments of complete silence rising through the room, the April moon. Shy and incomplete, beautiful in her first bra way, the April moon. White face, long shadow, I saw her walk into the bar, the April moon. A blade for a girl child, so she may walk all night protected, the April moon. Thank you.